Well, the Denver Nuggets just punked the Timberwolves on their home court, handing them their first loss of the postseason, winning it in dominant fashion. So let's talk about the highlights and key takeaways from that game, plus a key player for the Wolves who's dealing with an injury that could be a major factor the rest of this series. So let's get into all of that, but first, Wolves back?
Howl, beat up game, boy!
All right, so jumping into this recap right away, the Nuggets came out and they were clearly the more desperate team. I know everybody talked about it. The defending champs down 0-2. They weren't just going to go quietly into the night. KCP had this nasty pull-up right here over Karl-Anthony Towns. And then Jamal Murray all night was just getting downhill. His calf looked totally fine. He didn't look that banged up to me anyway. Anthony Edwards was doing his thing. He hit this three right here, but he actually didn't have the best game, and he said it in his post-game interview that he just wasn't aggressive enough, and that's a credit to the Nuggets defense because it was clearly a point of emphasis for them to take him out of the game and let the others beat them. They just didn't do it. Nobody really stepped up enough. And another thing was the Nuggets just moved the ball all night. It felt like the Wolves were a little more stagnant on offense. They couldn't really find their offensive flow, and they were turning the ball over. Denver was getting some easier buckets in transition off those turnovers, except for this one right here. What a ridiculous block by Ant. But then KCP, he's going to miss this, and the refs missed this call right here. Aaron Gordon shoves Rudy in the back. Michael Porter Jr. cuts, gets the pass, and finishes at the rim. And this is just another example of Jamal Murray making tough shots. Look, say what you want about him. I'm certainly not the biggest fan after his Game 2 antics, but hey, he came out and he was a man on a mission. He took this ball the full length of the court and attacked. He was attacking Rudy, he was attacking Cat. It didn't matter who was on him, if Anthony Edwards was guarding him. So, I mean, props to Jamal Murray. He played a phenomenal game. It is annoying as a Wolves fan that he didn't get suspended. I certainly thought he should have been suspended, especially when you consider that in the regular season, Rudy Gobert did this. He did the money gesture sign to a ref, didn't get suspended, but he got fined for $100,000, and Jamal Murray gets the same fine. He did this, he did the money gesture, he cussed at the refs, he threw a heat pack and a towel onto the court, and he didn't get suspended but got the same punishment as Rudy. It makes no sense to me. But anyways, it was 28-20 at the end of the first quarter. The Nuggets had the early lead, but it still felt like the Wolves were going to be able to punch back in this game. But again, Jamal Murray making stuff happen here. Everything was off the dribble, it was off the attack. It felt like the Nuggets had a real point of emphasis to open up their offense by attacking the rim and then passing out of it. It was just dribble handoff after dribble handoff from Jokic to Murray. And that was one thing that concerned me with this one is how many open looks the Nuggets got. It kind of felt like the two teams flipped because in the first two games, it felt like everything looked impossible for the Nuggets on offense and the Wolves were getting easy buckets. Well, in this one, it was the complete opposite. The Nuggets were getting some open looks. They were also hitting really tough shots, but they were getting open looks and they were knocking them down. And look, the Wolves were missing open looks. They could not buy a bucket to save their lives. And they came out of halftime looking aggressive on offense, but Aaron Gordon just lit it up. Anytime the Wolves got a little bit of momentum, Aaron Gordon would hit a three, and just insane. I've never seen him shoot that well, but the Wolves were leaving him wide open. That was a part of their game plan, so what are you going to do? The Nuggets did go up by as much as 34 points in this one, and ultimately they won 117-90. It was a 27-point win for the Nuggets. A really impressive bounce-back game for them, and a disappointing game if you're a Wolves fan. They just looked flat all night. They didn't have it on either ends of the court, and they're definitely going to need to come back, make some adjustments, and see where they can go from there. I will say, I hate it when fan bases ride that narrative into the ground that their team lost because of officiating. Look, I'll just say right now, the Wolves did not lose this game because of the officiating, okay? The Nuggets actually had more fouls than the Timberwolves, but at the same time, the difference between Game 2 and Game 3 in terms of physicality and what the refs were letting players get away with was night and day. And I think that's what frustrates me the most about officiating is inconsistency. I don't care if you're going to let them play or you're going to call it a tighter game. Just be consistent with it. Because the Timberwolves in Game 2 were physical and they weren't calling the fouls. They were letting them play. And so they're coming into Game 3, of course, thinking that they can be physical. And Jaden McDaniels got into foul trouble early and that killed the Wolves. And physicality is the Timberwolves' main advantage, or one of the main advantages for them in this series. So if you're not going to call it consistently, the Wolves don't know how to, they have to second guess every time they're playing defense. They have to think. Whereas if you're letting them play physical, they can play more instinctual. Their instincts can take over. They can body up guys. They don't have to second guess it. But if you're inconsistent with the calls, now guys are second guessing and they're like, I don't know, are they going to call this or not? And as an athlete, you want to be reactionary. You don't want to be in your head and thinking about that kind of stuff. So like I said, that's not the main reason that they lost. The Nuggets played the better game, but that just bothers me in general. Any sport, whether it's the NFL or NBA, it doesn't matter. But going into the box score here, like I said, Aaron Gordon in that third quarter, he came out and lit it up, man. He finished with 13 points. He shot 3 for 4 from 3, and I think all of them were in the third quarter. He only had 2 rebounds, but Jokic picked up his slack for him. He had 14 boards. Jokic almost had a triple-double, 24 points, 14 boards, 9 assists, 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Jamal Murray had the worst shooting night, quote-unquote, even though 11 for 21 isn't that bad. And he shot 2 for 5 from 3, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. All 5 starters were plus. Of course, everyone's going to be a positive in the plus minus when you beat a team by 27. But yeah, all 5 starters for Denver finished in double figures. Their bench didn't really contribute anything, but they didn't need to because their starting 5 played so well. All right, so now looking at the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards had 19 points. He was the most effective of the starting 5 for whatever that's worth. He had 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He had 5 turnovers though, and again, credit to Denver's defense. They forced him into things that he wasn't comfortable with, so got to give him props there. Cat played really well in the first half. He hit a couple of threes. He was 4 for 5 on the night. You honestly, as a Wolves fan, you want to see him shoot more. He shoots it so efficiently. It's like, bro, just let off 8 or 9 go, even if you're contested. And I mean, look, the Wolves just got absolutely worked on the boards. The leading rebounders for the Wolves were Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards. That is unacceptable. You cannot have that if you're the Timberwolves. And yeah, you look at the team stats here, and I mean, look, field goal percentage. The Nuggets shot almost 54% from the field. Meanwhile, the T-Wolves shot, I never even say T-Wolves, I don't know why I said that. They shot 43.7% from the field, 10 for 33 from 3-pointers. I mean, looking at all these stats here, the Nuggets almost won every single major statistical category. They shot better from the free throw line, they had more rebounds, they had more assists, steals, blocks, less turnovers. And one of the most concerning things, if you're a Timberwolves fan, because I do think they're gonna bounce back, they're not gonna come out and get punked again on Sunday, but one of the more concerning things is that Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a shoulder injury, and it sounds like he took a hard screen late in the fourth quarter and he was pissed about it. He actually got ejected from the game because he was arguing with the ref. But after the game, he said, yeah, right now it hurts. We'll see what happens Saturday when I wake up and everything's settled. So look, if they don't have Nickeil for game 4, that is probably my biggest concern as a Timberwolves fan, because I do think the rest of the lineup, their energy will be back. I think they got punched in the face, and I honestly liked Ant's mentality. If you listen to his post-game presser, just see what he had to say real quick.
I like the fact that they punched tonight. We didn't punch back, and that's the thing about that. That's fun. Like, you love to compete, so it should be very competitive Sunday, and we're going to be here for it.
So yeah, from a mental and emotional standpoint, I do think they're going to bounce back, but not having Nickeil is a big problem, especially if the refs aren't letting them play and Jaden gets into foul trouble. Then you're going to need that extra defender that you can put on Jamal Murray, and if he's cooking like he was in game 3, it's going to be a problem. But we got a series. We knew the Nuggets weren't going to just go out without a fight, so here we are, 2-1. There's definitely some things to clean up for the Timberwolves, but hey, we're still up 2-1 in this series, okay? We have a home game on Sunday, and look, this game could be in the past just like game 2 was for the Nuggets in a matter of days, okay? If we come out hot and go up 3-1, then it's a totally different narrative, but gotta fight back, gotta punch back, and that's all I gotta say. But hey, I'll see you guys for the game 4 recap, but until then, Wolves back!